Hi, this is Marcus Spitzmiller. I'm a member of the Enterprise Architecture team with Qlik. This is part 2 of a video series that talks about how to use QlikSense scalability tools to load test QlikSense applications. Now in part 1 I installed everything, so now in part 2 I'm going to launch the scalability tool and it looks like this. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my scenario editor and click on New. And then secondly, we have to start defining connection settings. Now I did all of this in part 1 and these are the values that we set up. So we'll just type them in. And if I was using SSL, I would check that here. The application name is something that we need to fill in. I'll take that from the management console. And then the server is right here, which I'll type in as well. Now, if I've done things well, what I like to do is I come to the app structure button and click on connect to app, and if I get a happy message, that means that I'm able to connect to QlikSense with the scalability tool. So I got a good message, and what this means now is when I come down here to define a script, if I do something like change sheet or make a selection, in the drop downs you can see that the names are here, and so this tool now knows about the definitions of the app and we can work with that. Now before I do that, I'm going to come to my test settings, and the things that I like to work with here are the following. Now execution time defaults to -1, meaning it will run for forever. I like to do something like an hour. That's what this is. The ramp up delay deals with how fast a new user is coming into the system. We'll change that to maybe 15 seconds or so. The number of iterations is how many times the script runs for each virtual user. And I'll set that to infinite, meaning the script will run for each virtual user up until it reaches the hour mark. And then the number of concurrent users here, and maybe we'll do 50. So what I can do now is, as I go to build my script, I might do a change sheet and change it to the dashboard sheet. Now importantly, it's important to put in timer delays in between each step, and this simulates the think time for each user as they're performing their analysis. Now this defaults to values that are random between 10 and 15 seconds. That's what this is talking about. It's 12.5 plus or minus 2.5. But what I like to do is crank up this value a little bit higher to more accurately simulate what a user does when they're actually looking and thinking about the analytics that they're looking at. So this is between 25 and 30 seconds randomly each time the script runs. Now we'll build one more, and this is what it looks like to make a selection. Now I choose the name. I could be choosing a list box or a chart. I choose this one, and then the type of the selection, there's quite a few. The ones that I use the most are random from all. This is randomly selecting across all possible values in a chart. Random from enabled is looking at like the white values. If you looked at a list box, the green, white, and gray, this is the white values, and then random from excluded is the gray. So you have some choices about how you're making selections. And now this value min and max shows how many values it'll select in a list box or a chart. This defaults to 1 each time, but you can do things like anywhere between 2 and 5 selections every time the script runs, for example. Now it's important to have randomization here, and this means that when the script runs, it's not going to hit the cache by having had the same value computed over and over and over again. So we want an element of randomness here. Now I've gone ahead and I've created a completed script, so we'll go ahead and open that. And after this is loaded up, you can see I've got the whole script here. We're about ready to run, but we need to come over to the QlikSense side really quick and get it set up for the test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the services, and I'm going to go ahead and restart everything just to get a nice fresh QlikSense running. So let's do that. And the last thing that I want to do is come over to my performance counters that we loaded up in part 1 of this series, and we'll start running them now. So now we're collecting stats about CPU and RAM utilization on the environment. I'll come back to my test. I'm going to hit Start Executor. It takes me to another tab where I hit Execute. And at this point, we're going to start running the script that's going to run for an hour. At 50 concurrent users. It will ramp up those users every 15 seconds, and then it will stop. Now because I'm not getting any error message here, that's a good thing. And at this point we will come back in part 3 of the video series and check out the results.